Title: If you see a bonfire flickering alone in the fields after midnight, don't approach it. It's not for you, and they're not alone anymore. There's something wrong with the fields near our old farmhouse. There always has been. My grandfather used to tell us kids to never go near them after sundown. Not because of wild animals or trespassers, but because sometimes, when the fog hung low and the world felt quieter than it should, a fire would flicker in the distance. Not a wildfire, not a campfire. A bonfire. Massive, controlled, yet crackling with an energy that didn't feel right. He'd say, "If you ever see it, turn away. It's not for you. And they're never alone." For years, I thought he was just keeping us out of trouble. That is, until last summer. I had returned to the farmhouse after my grandfather passed. The property was mine now. Overgrown, rotting at the edges, yet steeped in the memories of long, golden summers and the gentle hum of cicadas. I spent the first week cleaning up, mostly in silence, with only the occasional distant bark of coyotes and rustling cornfields as company. The town nearby was nearly empty now, the old stories having driven most families away, or something had. Then came that night. I woke up a little after midnight, sweating and disoriented. There was no power. No breeze. Just an eerie stillness pressing against the walls of the house. I stepped out onto the porch for air, and that's when I saw it. At the far edge of the fields, where the wheat meets the wild grass, a bonfire blazed against the black sky. It wasn't there when I went to bed. It hadn't been lit by human hands. I knew that. No one was out here for miles. And yet, it burned, high and rhythmic, like it was breathing. I should have remembered his warning. I should have shut the door, gone back inside. But something pulled me. Not like curiosity, but hunger, something that rooted in my bones and dragged me forward. I didn't take a flashlight. I didn't even grab shoes. My feet bled on the thorns, but I didn't notice until later. Every step toward the flame felt like time stretched and slowed. The night deepened. The stars above blinked out one by one. As I approached, I began to see shapes moving around the fire. Not people. No. They were tall, too tall, and thin, like their bodies were strung together from sticks and shadows. They danced, but not in celebration. It was a ritual, a rhythm older than language. Their heads twitched to look at me as I neared the edge of the field. Their eyes were wide and full of memory, of seeing, of knowing. I stopped just short of the clearing, breath frozen in my throat. One of them broke from the circle and turned its entire body toward me, its movements spasmodic, twitching like a spider. It beckoned with an elongated arm, and from beneath its tattered, bark-like skin, I saw something human. A face. No, many faces, screaming, silent, trapped. The fire flared violently, rising high into the air with a crack like thunder. And then I heard it. A voice, or many voices, all in unison from the flames and from the things. "You see us now. We see you too." That snapped whatever spell I was under. I ran, barefoot, blood-soaked, heart hammering, lungs burning. The fire behind me did not dim. I don't know if they chased me. I didn't dare look back. I made it to the porch and slammed the door. From my window, I watched as the bonfire pulsed one final time, then vanished. The field has never looked the same. It's darker somehow. Wilder. Like it doesn't want to be touched anymore. And I swear, every night since, at exactly midnight, I hear the soft beat of a drum out there. A slow rhythm. Calling. Waiting. If you ever see that fire, turn around and go inside. Because they're not alone anymore. And they remember me. The dream started the night I came back. I thought it was just guilt, or maybe the aftermath of adrenaline and terror wearing off. But these weren't dreams, these were memories that didn't belong to me. I would wake up drenched in sweat, the stench of burning flesh clinging to my sheets, the crackling of fire still echoing in my ears. I'd see faces, half-formed, melted, eyeless, whispering and voices that were more ash than sound. And always, in the background, that bonfire. Unmoving. Waiting. At first, I tried to live normally. Pretend it never happened. I scrubbed the dirt from my boots, deleted the photos, blocked the numbers of the friends who had dared me to go. I kept the windows shut at night and left all the lights on. But no matter what I did, the fire wouldn't leave me. It began appearing in reflections, flickering behind me in darkened windows, dancing in the sheen of a doorknob, burning quietly in the reflection of my own eyes. Every time I blinked, it felt like a little more of me stayed in that field. Then came the crows. Not dozens, hundreds. They perched on the power lines outside my home, covering them like charred garlands. They lined my roof, stared through my windows, tapping the glass with their beaks like they were counting down. Their eyes weren't right. Not bird eyes, too human. Too knowing. They watched me with the same hateful recognition I saw in those burning silhouettes around the fire. And the sounds. The whispers weren't dreams anymore. They started seeping into the real world, under my door, through my vents, rising from the drains in a wet, gurgling chant. They weren't saying words I understood, but I felt what they meant. They were calling me back. They were telling me that the fire was growing, that it had fed on something the night I stepped too close. That it was awake now, and hungry. I moved. New city. New job. New everything. I didn't tell anyone why. Didn't want the questions. But it didn't matter. I saw the smoke first. Thin trails on the horizon, even when no one else noticed. Then came the blackened footprints on my floorboards, leading from my front door to the edge of my bed, stopping inches from where I slept. And when I finally broke down and ran to the police, all I could say was, I think I brought something back with me. They didn't believe me. Why would they? I wouldn't have believed me either. Until last night. There was a knock on the door, not loud, just there. I looked through the peephole. No one. But I knew better. I opened it anyway. Not because I'm brave. Because I was tired. Because the whispers had started speaking in my voice. The fire was on my front lawn. Not the flames. Not physically. But the light, the exact shade of it, pulsing where grass used to be. Behind it stood the figures I saw that night. And more. Dozens more. The same eyeless stares. The same lopsided mouths whispering smoke. One of them pointed. Its arm cracked like a burnt log as it moved. It pointed not at me, but through me. I turned, slow, hard hammering. There, sitting on my couch, was a copy of myself. Charred skin. Mouth sewn shut. Smiling with its eyes. It stood and walked toward me, every step echoing like wood splitting. I slammed the door shut, but it was already inside. The fire was no longer out in the field. It had followed me home. And now it burns behind my eyes. I tried to run after that night. I packed what little I had, left town before the sun even cracked the edge of the hills, and drove west for days without stopping. Every time I blinked, I saw that fire again. Not just the glow, but the things dancing around it. Their spines jerked unnaturally with each movement. Their limbs bent in places no limb should, and their heads. Their heads didn't belong to any living thing. Some had no faces. Some had far too many. And they were all watching me, or watching through me, like I was something they'd already consumed and were just waiting to finish. Even hundreds of miles away, the smell followed, a burnt sweetness, like sugar melted too long in a pan, stuck to my clothes, my skin, my sheets. I changed motels every night, but nothing helped. One morning, I found a scorch mark outside my room window. No fire alarms had gone off. No one else had noticed. But it was there, the grass curling inward like fingers trying to escape something burning from beneath. Then came the whispers. At first, they were just in the silence, those moments between engine hums or when the radio lost signal. I'd hear something low, gravelly, almost like breathing. Then syllables formed. My name. A laugh. The crackling sound of wood breaking, louder than it should be. One night, I caught my reflection in the motel mirror twisting, just for a second, not my face, but something grinning behind it. I shattered the glass with my fist. The thing inside me laughed. I began to dream in fire. Always that same field. Always that same bonfire, now larger, now pulsing. The silhouettes around it multiplied. Now dozens. Then hundreds. And I wasn't just a spectator anymore. I was inside the circle. I could feel the heat gnawing at my bones, smell the singed hair on my arms, feel my skin blister. Every time I tried to scream, the flames filled my mouth. I'd wake up choking, my pillow soaked in sweat, sometimes with actual ash on my bedsheets. I tried to see a doctor. A priest. A psychic. No one helped. Some couldn't see me properly. Some refused to speak once I explained. One woman, a tarot reader in a gas station parking lot, cried the moment she touched my hand. She said I had stepped into something older than fire and that they walk now where they used to burn. She told me I wasn't cursed. I was claimed. Last night, it got worse. I woke up to find blackened footprints on the floor of my rented room. Ashy steps leading from the window to the foot of my bed. My shoes were untouched. No one else had access. The fire had come inside. And it had watched me while I slept. Worse still, I saw shadows around the frame of the door, crouched low like waiting animals. They vanished the moment I turned the light on. But I heard the hiss, like steam escaping a crack in the wall, followed by a voice that wasn't quite human. "You're almost ready." I don't know what they mean. I don't know what I'm being made ready for. But I can feel it now, in the twitch of my muscles, in how my pupils flicker when I pass by open flame. I can taste smoke on my tongue even when the air is clean. Something in me is changing. Maybe it already has. Tonight, I'll try to run again, though I know it won't matter. I can feel them at the edges of every mile I put behind me, like they're stretching time and space to pull me back. The bonfire still burns every time I close my eyes. But now it's closer. Bigger. And there's a space open in the circle, just the size of a man. And it's waiting for me to step in. Forever.